Welcome back. In our last segment, we covered the official government data. The Bureau of Economic Analysis told us that American incomes dipped in February. Spending rose, and the saving rate fell to just 4%. But that report only tells part of the story. Tonight, we go deeper. Because the government data shows us the averages, and averages can be misleading. What's happening beneath those numbers to ordinary households across the country is far more alarming. A new 2026 Personal Finance Statistics report from Capital Counselor pulls together data from Bankrate, the Federal Reserve, Fidelity, FINRA, and dozens of other sources. And what it shows is a financial system under serious strain. Let's go through the numbers. Let's start with emergency savings, or more accurately, the lack of them. According to Bankrate's 2026 Emergency Savings Report, 27% of American adults have absolutely no emergency savings. Not a small savings account, not a few $100s tucked away. Nothing. And this is the highest level ever recorded. That's roughly 1 in 4 adults. One bad month, a job loss, a medical bill, a car breakdown, and they are immediately in financial freefall. And it gets worse. 59% of Americans don't have enough savings to cover a single unexpected $1,000 expense. Only 41% could handle it from savings, the lowest share since 2021. Think about that. $1,000 is not a lot of money in today's world. An emergency room visit, a car repair, a broken appliance, these are normal life events, and the majority of Americans cannot absorb them without going into debt. Meanwhile, nearly 3 in 4 Americans, 73%, say they are saving less than they used to because of inflation, elevated interest rates, or changes in employment. Now, let's talk about day-to-day financial reality. More than half of Americans, 53%, say they are living paycheck to paycheck in 2026. And this is not just a low-income problem. While 72.8% of those earning under $50,000 live this way, even 32.3% of Americans earning over $100,000 a year face the same struggle. That second number is the one that should really make you pause. People earning 6 figures, still running out of money before the next paycheck. This tells us that the problem isn't just about how much you earn. It's about spending habits, debt burdens, and a cost of living that keeps rising faster than paychecks. Adding to this, about 43% of U.S. adults report some difficulty paying their regular bills. Among millennials and people carrying consumer debt, those numbers are even higher, at 59% and 58% respectively. These numbers, taken together with the BEA income report we covered earlier, paint a portrait of a country that is financially fragile in a way that the headline economic figures don't fully capture. GDP is growing. The stock market has been near record highs. Unemployment is relatively low, and yet half the country can't cover a $1,000 emergency. How do we make sense of that contradiction? The answer is that America is running on 2 separate economies simultaneously. In one economy, the one that shows up in the averages, things look pretty good. Average net worth of $1 million, record 401k balances, strong stock portfolios, rising home values. In the other economy, the one that most Americans actually live in, the picture is entirely different. A 4% saving rate, no emergency fund, credit card debt growing at 22.83% interest, $105,000 in household debt, living paycheck to paycheck even on a 6-figure salary. The problem with our economic reporting is that we often talk about these 2 economies as if they were one. We celebrate record 401k balances without mentioning that 54% of households have no 401k at all. We note that average net worth hit $1 million, without saying that the median is $192,000, and that for Americans under 35, it's just $39,000. This framing matters, because when ordinary people hear that the economy is doing well and their own lives feel financially stressed, they feel confused, or worse, like they're doing something wrong. Often, they're not. They're just living in the other economy. I want to spend a moment on the credit card numbers because I think they represent the most urgent and underappreciated financial crisis in America right now. $1.2 trillion in credit card debt, a 22.83% average interest rate, $254 billion in interest payments in a single year. Let's put that in perspective. If you carry $7,321 in credit card debt, which is the average for households that have credit card debt, and you only make minimum payments, you will pay thousands of dollars in interest before you clear that balance. At 22%, the debt essentially doubles every 3 to 4 years if you're not aggressively paying it down. And yet, 37% of Americans have more credit card debt than retirement savings. Think about the mathematical reality of that situation. They're paying 22% interest on debt, while their retirement savings, if they have any, might earn 7% to 10% in the market over the long run. They are losing ground every single month in ways that compound relentlessly. The solution sounds simple. Pay off the credit card first. But for someone living paycheck to paycheck with no emergency fund, the credit card is also their only safety net. It's the thing they turn to when the car breaks down or the medical bill arrives. Telling someone in that situation to just pay off the card misses the reality of how trapped many Americans feel and are. The 48% financial literacy score is troubling, but I want to be careful about how we interpret it, because it's tempting to blame individual ignorance for what are often structural problems. Yes, better financial education would help. The fact that 27 states now require a personal finance course to graduate high school is a step in the right direction, and it's 3 times more than just a few years ago. That progress matters. But financial literacy alone doesn't solve the problem when someone is earning $35,000 a year in a city where rent costs $1,800 a month. Knowing the difference between a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA doesn't help if you have nothing left to invest after paying for rent, food, childcare, and transportation. The $1,015 annual cost of financial illiteracy per person is real, and if you can help someone avoid a predatory loan, an unnecessary fee, or a bad insurance product, that knowledge has concrete dollar value. But let's not let the financial literacy conversation become a way of shifting responsibility entirely onto individuals for what are also systemic failures. Stagnant wages, a broken healthcare system, a housing market that has priced out an entire generation. Financial education is necessary. It is not sufficient. The generational data in this report deserves serious attention. Gen Z, Americans currently in their late teens and mid-20s, has the lowest financial literacy rate at 38% and a median net worth of under $40,000. And the share who feel confident about their financial knowledge has dropped dramatically in just 2 years. But here's what I find most telling. 50% of Gen Z say they would rather enjoy life now than save for the future. At first glance, that might sound irresponsible, but step back and consider the world this generation inherited. They came of age during a pandemic. They graduated into a job market disrupted by remote work and automation. They face student loan debt. Housing is less affordable for them than it was for any previous generation. And they're watching their savings get eaten by inflation, while simultaneously being told to invest for a retirement that feels abstract and distant. In that context, choosing to live in the present isn't necessarily ignorance. It can be a rational response to a system that has made the future feel genuinely uncertain. That's not an excuse to avoid savings, but it is a call for more empathy in how we talk about this generation's financial choices. Finally, I want to end on something that the data captures, but that often gets lost in financial reporting: the human cost. Half of Americans worry about money every single day. More than a third lose sleep over it. 69% say financial stress triggers anxiety or depression. And 44% feel that their finances control their life, that they have no agency, no path forward, no way out. These are not just economic statistics. These are mental health statistics. Financial stress is one of the leading drivers of anxiety, relationship breakdown, and even physical illness in America. And it's deeply underreported because money is still one of the most stigmatized topics in American culture. People feel shame about debt. They feel embarrassed about not having savings. They compare themselves to an average, a $1 million net worth. That doesn't reflect their reality and feel like failures. The truth is, if you are financially stressed in America in 2026, you are not alone. You are, statistically, in the majority. And that is not a personal failing. It is a systemic one that requires systemic solutions. Together, the BEA report and the Capital Counselor data give us a complete picture. On one side, official government data showing income slipping, spending rising, and savings rates dangerously low. On the other, a deeper look at the real distribution of that pain. Who has nothing saved? Who is buried in credit card debt? Who can't even define what compound interest means? America is a wealthy country. The total numbers? $45.8 trillion in retirement assets, a $1 million average net worth, are genuinely impressive. But those numbers mask a reality in which tens of millions of households are one emergency away from crisis. The next government report comes April 30th. But the financial lives of ordinary Americans won't wait for a report. They're happening right now, every day, for better or for worse. Stay informed, stay grounded, and remember that behind every statistic is a real person trying to figure it out, just like the rest of us. Thank you for watching.